in the bustling commercial city of Onitsha, where the Niger River meets ambition and traders wake before roosters even think about crowing, there lived a young man named Chinedu. Now, Chinedu wasn't just kind. He was the kind that made angels jealous. The kind of man who would give you his last 20 naira and then apologize for not having more. His nickname around the market was Brother Helper, because if you needed something, anything at all, Chinedu would find a way. Lost your market stall key? Chinedu had a spare. Forgot money for transport? Chinedu would walk you home himself. This wasn't ordinary goodness. This was the type of selflessness that makes you wonder if the person has a functioning survival instinct. Chinedu shared his small boy's quarters with his childhood friend, Emeka. These two had history, the kind written in shared gari, late night plans, and promises made under moonlight when boys become men. They'd met at age 9 in primary school, both wearing uniforms their mothers had sewn from the same Ankara fabric because cloth was expensive and friendship was free. By secondary school, they were inseparable. When Chinedu's father died and left him with nothing but debt and a leaking roof, Emeka's family fed him. When Emeka failed WAEC twice and thought his life was over, Chinedu tutored him every night until he passed. Brotherhood. That's what they called it. Blood of the covenant thicker than water of the womb. But what they didn't know was that blood can also clot, can also poison, can also betray. You see, Emeka looked like a good friend on the surface. He laughed at Chinedu's jokes, slapped his back during good times, borrowed money that he sometimes even returned. But inside, Emeka was rotting with something ugly. Jealousy. Not the small kind that makes you wish you had what your friend has. No, this was the deep, cancerous kind that makes you wish your friend would lose everything so you could finally feel superior. No matter how hard Emeka tried, Chinedu was always one step ahead. Better grades without studying as hard. More respect in the community, despite being poorer. Even the girls preferred Chinedu's gentle smile over Emeka's flashy money. The opportunity came on a humid Tuesday morning when the whole city was buzzing about something big. Mr. Okonkwo, the wealthiest shipping magnate in all of Onitsha, was looking for a personal assistant. Not just any PA, this was a golden ticket. The salary alone could feed 3 families. The position came with the company car, housing allowance, and connections that could set up your entire bloodline for generations. Chinedu heard about it from Mama Ngozi, the woman who sold akara at the junction. She mentioned it casually while wrapping his breakfast.
That big shipping man is looking for somebody to work for him. Oh, sharp person. Only somebody. The pay is something that will make your ancestors dance.
Chinedu's heart jumped. This was it. The opportunity he'd been praying for. For 3 years, he'd been doing odd jobs, pushing wheelbarrows at the market, offloading trucks, anything to send small money back to his mother in the village and keep himself alive. A job like this would change everything. He could finally move his mother from that village where poverty had set up permanent residence. He could finish his diploma. He could actually build something that looked like a future. He rushed home, nearly tripping over his own excitement, to tell Emeka. They were sitting on the old wooden bench outside their room, the one with termite holes that threatened to collapse every time someone heavy sat down. Chinedu's words tumbled out like water from a broken dam, telling Emeka about Mr. Okonkwo's position, about how this could be their breakthrough. But then Chinedu paused, reality cooling his excitement like cold water on hot metal. Who do we know that can connect us? We don't have that kind of reach. And that's when Emeka smiled, a strange smile. the kind that doesn't quite reach the eyes. Actually, he said slowly, my uncle's friend's son works in Mr. Okonkwo's shipping company. Middle management. He might be able to help. Chinedu grabbed Emeka's shoulders, joy exploding across his face. Brother, see God. You see why I say you're my guardian angel. Please, beg him for me. Tell him I'll wash that man's car with my bare hands if that's what it takes. Emeka nodded, his smile widening. Don't worry, brother. I'll talk to him tomorrow. We're in this together, Abby. Your success is my success. What Chinedu didn't see, what he couldn't see because trust is a blindfold we willingly wear, was the calculation happening behind Emeka's eyes, the wheels turning, the plan forming. That night, after Chinedu had fallen asleep, still clutching the small Bible his mother gave him, still whispering prayers of gratitude, Emeka lay awake. The jealousy that had been simmering for years suddenly boiled over. Why should Chinedu get this opportunity? Chinedu, who everyone loved despite having nothing. Chinedu, who walked around like poverty was a costume he could remove whenever he wanted. Chinedu, who made goodness look easy, while Emeka had to fight for every scrap of respect. No, this time Emeka decided things would be different. This time, he would be the one to shine. The next morning, Emeka woke early and told Chinedu he was going to see Obinna to recommend him for the position. Pray for us, brother. Let me go and beg on your behalf. Chinedu hugged him, nearly crushing his ribs with gratitude. I'll be praying. Please greet him for me. Tell him I'm hardworking, honest, and I won't disappoint. Emeka nodded, took Chinedu's handwritten CV, the one he'd spent 3 days perfecting, and left. But Emeka didn't go to Obinna's office to recommend Chinedu. Oh no, he went there with a completely different script. Sitting across from Obinna in a small beer parlor, Emeka presented himself, not as someone advocating for a friend, but as the candidate himself. Guy, I need your help. I heard about the PA position with Mr. Okonkwo. I'm hardworking, I'm loyal, and I really need this break. Obinna studied him for a moment, then shrugged. Okay, but you know Mr. Okonkwo is strict. He tests character. If you mess up during the interview, I can't save you. Emeka's heart pounded with a mixture of excitement and guilt that he quickly suppressed. They shook hands. The deal was done. Emeka walked out with Chinedu's hope in his pocket and his own ambition blazing in his chest. When he got home, Chinedu was waiting like a puppy at the door. So, what did he say? Can he help? And this is where Emeka told the first lie. Not a big one, just a crack in the foundation. The kind you don't notice until the whole building collapses. Emeka's face fell into a perfectly practiced expression of disappointment. Brother, I tried. I begged Obinna, but he said the position has already been filled internally. They are not taking outside applications anymore. The light drained from Chinedu's face, like someone had opened a tap at the bottom of his soul. 3 years of pushing wheelbarrows and sleeping hungry suddenly felt heavier. Emeka watched him for a moment, and for a split second, guilt flickered. But he crushed it. He crushed it the way you crush an insect, quick and efficient. Sorry, guy, but don't worry. Another opportunity will come. Chinedu nodded numbly. What else could he do? He trusted Emeka completely, blindly, the way you trust your own shadow. Tuesday came. Emeka left for the interview, telling Chinedu he was meeting a potential customer for his import business. The interview location was Mr. Okonkwo's massive compound in the GRA, the kind of house that makes you understand why people sell their souls for wealth. Marble floors, chandeliers, security guards who looked like they ate small boys for breakfast. Mr. Okonkwo himself was a large man with gray hair and sharp eyes that seemed to see through flesh into your actual intentions. He didn't just interview Emeka, he interrogated him. Why do you want this position? Tell me about a time you demonstrated integrity. What would you do if I asked you to do something unethical? Emeka had prepared for these questions. He lied smoothly, confidently, painting himself as a humble, hard-working young man just looking for an opportunity to prove himself. He even threw in a story about helping an old woman carry a load at the market, something Chinedu had actually done last week. But who was counting? Mr. Okonkwo listened, his face unreadable. Then he said something that made Emeka's blood run cold. I have a policy. Before I hire anyone for a sensitive position, I do a background check. I talk to neighbors, market people. I find out who you really are when nobody's watching. So I'll let you know my decision by Friday. Meanwhile, Chinedu's life continued its downward spiral. The landlord had increased their rent, 2,000 naira more that he couldn't afford. His mother called from the village crying, saying the roof had collapsed during a storm. His wheelbarrow hustle was slow because a new boy had appeared at the market, younger and stronger, taking his customers. Every night Chinedu would pray, asking God why the doors kept slamming in his face. Every night Emeka would lie in the next bed, silent, carrying a secret that was growing heavier by the day, but not heavy enough to confess, not heavy enough to do the right thing. Friday came. Emeka's phone rang. It was Obina. Guy, I have good news and bad news. Emeka's heart hammered. What's the bad news? The bad news is that Mr. Okonkwo did his background check on you and people said you're okay. Not particularly outstanding, but okay. No major red flags. Emeka exhaled. So what's the good news? He wants to meet you again tomorrow morning. He says he has one final test. Saturday morning came. Emeka arrived early, dressed sharp, rehearsing confidence he didn't quite feel. But this time, something was different. Mr. Okonkwo wasn't in his usual office. Instead, Emeka was led to the back of the compound, to a boys' quarters area, similar to where he and Chinedu lived. Sitting outside on a bench was an old man in tattered clothes. His face was dirty, his wrapper was torn, and he looked like he hadn't eaten in days. He was crying softly, muttering to himself. Emeka stared at him with barely disguised disgust, twisting in his stomach. Mr. Okonkwo appeared behind Emeka. Your test is simple. This man is my distant relative who fell on hard times. He showed up this morning begging for help. I'm busy today with important meetings. I'm putting you in charge of him. Give him food, clean clothes, and make sure he's comfortable. I check back in 3 hours. How you treat him will determine if you get this job. Then Mr. Okonkwo left. Disgust twisted in Emeka's stomach. This dirty, smelly stranger was standing between him and his dream job. But it was just 3 hours. He could fake kindness for 3 hours. He brought the man inside, gave him a plate of rice. Not from the good pot, but leftovers from yesterday. He gave him water in a cracked plastic cup. He didn't offer to help him clean up, just pointed to a bathroom and told him to hurry. The old man looked at him with sad, knowing eyes, but said nothing. He ate the food slowly, as if each grain of rice hurt to swallow. Emeka sat outside checking his watch, scrolling through his phone, treating this like a burden instead of a blessing. 2 hours passed. Then something strange happened. Mr. Okonkwo's personal driver appeared, along with 2 security men. They went straight to the boys' quarters and escorted the old man out. Emeka was confused. Was the test over early? Had he passed? He followed them, and that's when his world shattered into a million unrepairable pieces. The old man was led into the main house, and there, in the massive living room with its leather couches and gold-framed photos, the old man transformed. A younger man appeared with fresh clothes, an expensive agbada. Another brought water in a crystal bowl for him to wash his face. The dirt came off, revealing skin that wasn't old at all. The wrapper was removed, showing the body of a man in his 50s, healthy and strong. It was Mr. Okonkwo's younger brother, the CEO of another company. This had all been a setup, a test, and Emeka had failed spectacularly. But wait, it gets worse. Because standing in that same living room, his face a mixture of confusion and shock, was Chinedu. Chinedu, who had been brought there for reasons he didn't yet understand. Chinedu, who Mr. Okonkwo had tracked down after his background checks revealed something very interesting. You see, when Mr. Okonkwo did his investigation on Emeka, asking around the neighborhood, the market, everywhere, people had things to say. Emeka, he's okay, not bad, not particularly good. But every single person, without exception, ended their review the same way. But if you want someone really good, talk to his friend Chinedu. That one is different. That one has a heart of gold. Person after person mentioned Chinedu. The woman whose child Chinedu had rushed to the hospital when she collapsed. The old man whose goods Chinedu helped carry every market day without asking for payment. The landlord who said Chinedu always paid his rent late but would rather starve than cheat anyone. Mr. Okonkwo got curious. Who was this Chinedu? So he sent someone to observe. And what his observer so broke his heart? Chinedu, pushing a wheelbarrow under the hot sun, stopping to help an elderly woman cross the street, even though he was already late for a customer. Chinedu, sharing his lunch with a beggar even though his own portion was barely enough. Chinedu, who literally couldn't pass suffering without trying to solve it. And that's when Mr. Okonkwo made a decision. He wanted to meet this Chinedu, test him the same way he was testing Emeka. So on that Saturday morning, while Emeka was busy treating the disguised brother with cold indifference, Mr. Okonkwo's driver had gone to fetch Chinedu. Now, here they were, all of them in the same room. Mr. Okonkwo spoke, his voice filling the room like thunder before rain. Emeka, you came here applying for a job as my personal assistant. You told me you were hardworking, honest, loyal. So I tested you. I gave you one simple task. Treat a human being with kindness, and you failed. The food you gave my brother was leftovers you wouldn't feed to a dog. You sat outside on your phone, treating this like a punishment. Mr. Okonkwo turned to Chinedu. But you, I didn't even call you for an interview. Yet here you are, brought here because every single person I spoke to about your friend couldn't stop talking about you. They told me stories of kindness that made me weep. So I sent someone to observe you. And what did I see? A young man who gives even when he has nothing, who helps even when he's already late. And then came the words that split the room into before and after. Chinedu, I'm offering you the position of my personal assistant. Starting salary, 400,000 naira per month. Company car. Housing allowance. And after 6 months, if you prove yourself, which I believe you will, I'm promoting you to manage one of my warehouses. The room went silent. You could hear a pin drop. Chinedu collapsed to his knees. He wept. Not small tears, but the kind of crying that comes from years of suffering suddenly meeting relief. The kind of crying that empties you out and fills you up at the same time. Years of pushing wheelbarrows, years of sleeping hungry, years of watching his mother suffer. All of it suddenly meeting this moment of divine intervention. And Emeka? Emeka stood frozen, his face cycling through emotions faster than a broken traffic light. Shock, disbelief, horror, and then the worst one, realization, because Mr. Okonkwo wasn't finished. He turned back to Emeka with eyes that had gone from warm to frozen. And you, You not only failed my test, but my background check revealed something else. You applied for this job using a CV that you claimed was yours, but my people did deep investigations. That format, that style of writing, it matches the work of someone named Chinedu, the same Chinedu standing here. You stole his work and presented it as yours. The truth bomb exploded in the room. Chinedu's head snapped up, looking at Emeka with an expression that can only be described as heartbreak in human form. Emeka, what is he talking about? His voice was barely a whisper. The betrayal was written across his face. 20 years of friendship crumbling in real time. Mr. Okonkwo pulled out more evidence. Testimony from Obinna, the connection guy, who, when pressed, admitted that Emeka had come to him personally, not on Chinedu's behalf. Screenshots of conversations, dates, everything. You told your friend the position was filled, Mr. Okonkwo said, each word landing like a slap. You lied to him so you could take the opportunity for yourself. You used his CV. You betrayed a brother who would have given you his last breath. The room was so quiet you could hear hearts breaking. Chinedu stood up slowly, looking at Emeka like he was a stranger. Worse than a stranger, a ghost of someone he thought he knew. 20 years. 20 years of shared history. Share hashtag you will never trust your best friend. Again, after watching this story,